Hi everyone, I'm Mike, and today I'll show you how to create your first free website using WebWave Website Builder. You don't need to have any coding experience, as everything is code and free, all drag and drop and all nice and easy. All you need to have is a little bit of spare time and you can get your first website in under 1 hour. I'll introduce you to all the basic functions of WebWave, as well as I'll show you how to adjust your newly created website for RWD, and then I'll show you how to publish it. So yeah, let's get started. Let's go to Webmaster's panel. So after you log in, you go here. Here you can see your websites list, which will be probably empty now, and access your account's information. You can also get some help and support through this panel. But now let's start creating our first website. Just click here. And now we've got two options. We can either start from scratch, so we can select this blank page option, or we can choose one of these pre-made templates. These are basically already built, fully functional websites, which you can adjust according to your needs. So you can live preview any of these templates. So let's click here. And you can switch between the sub pages to see how they work. They are also RWD ready, so if you click any of these buttons, then they'll show you different RWD modes. And now we can see how the website will behave while being displayed on mobile or on tablet. Cool, but for the purpose of this presentation, we'll go back to this screen and start from a blank page. This will load the editor. Okay, now you can see that the editor is somehow similar to the graphic manipulation programs you might already worked with. On the left, you got the toolbox where you can add different elements to your website. At the top, you got general settings. Here you've got the navigation panel where you can switch between different subpages, or you can create new ones. Here you got the RWD modes where you can switch between different display modes for your website. And here you've got website preview without publication. It's very useful if you recently made some changes to your website but don't want to publish it yet. So you just click here, and here you can see the preview of your website. This is also the quickest way to review all the changes you've made. Here you can access the comment mode, which will be very useful if you'll have an agency account with us. It will allow you to place or read the comments that can be placed anywhere on your website, but this will be described in details in different video. This is view published page, which is self-explanatory, and save website, which I recommend clicking from time to time to not lose the progress. And probably the most important and the most satisfying button in the entire editor, which is publish website. So click here to share your website with the world. And this is a link to it. So if you click here, it will display your website in its published form, but obviously we don't have anything on it. So let's go back to the editor, as I still got a few things to show you. On the right hand side, you've got the settings panel, which will allow you to adjust the settings either for the entire website or just for the page you're currently on. You can also change the settings for the individual elements. So if you add an element, you can change its settings here in the Another tab. I'll also show you how layers panel work. Here you got the layers panel, which will show you the current order of all the items you've got on your website. So if we add another rectangle element, we can then change how it's gonna look like and where it's gonna be displayed. So if we'd like to have this green square under the pink one, we'll have to go to the layers panel and simply drag and drop them in the order we want them to be in. It can be especially useful if later on we'd like to add a text element to our website. And then if we'd like to have this text element to be on top of all the other elements, we'll just have to move them around here in the layers panel. Cool. So now let's delete everything we've created so far, and let's finally start building our website. I'll begin with adding an image. To do so, I'll go to our toolbox and just click here. Now we've got a few options. We can search for stock photos on Unsplash. So as an example, I'll just type cat in here, and now we've got some nice cat pictures that are ready to be used on our website. The cool news is that you can use any of them, as all of them are licensed under Creative Commons 0, which means you can copy, modify, distribute, and use the photos for free. So you won't get any trouble for using them, contrary to the pictures you might find somewhere on Google. Right next to them, you've got the icon bank. So if you click here, you can get ready to use icons. So let's type in Facebook, and you can use any of them. It's very similar to the image bank. And then you can add your images, your own images and files. To do so, click here, find the image you'd like to use, and just open it. Now, let's make a few adjustments to our picture, so it is exactly as we want it to be. We've got plenty of options here, and one of them is with 100% option. If you click here, then the given element will take 100% of width of any display it's being viewed on. So it doesn't matter if it's phone or tablet or desktop, it will always fill 100% of width of the website. So I'll just make a couple adjustments. Now I'll add yet another element, so I'll just click here. I'll also change its width to 100%. Let's slightly resize it. And from the settings panel, you can change its color to any color you'd like in this color picker menu. You can also change its opacity, or type in the specific value in hex. I've got such value prepared, so I'll just type it in and click OK. Cool. Now I'll add a text element. So by clicking here, you can add a header. I'll just resize it a bit, then move it here. Change the text inside to, let's say, we create projects for you. I'll now add some lorem ipsum text. Let's resize it to 40. Move it to the middle. Make it bold. And here you can change its font. You can also add your own. However, we're gonna go for one of the default ones, which is Trebuchet. This one is a little bit, the description is a little bit too large, so I'll adjust it slightly. 30. I need to select bold. Also change the spacing here to 60. And now we've got our text element ready. We can also add a button to our website. To do so, just click here, and this will create a button that can be moved anywhere. You can also see these green and blue lines, and these are the guidelines that will help to position your elements properly. Let's move it here. And let's change the text to C projects. Now we can resize the text, make it bold. Let's change it to 18. And buttons have two states. The first one is called normal and the other one is hover. So if you move your cursor over the button, you can see that it changes colors. It's because it changes its state from normal to hover, etc. We can change the colors right here, and I've got these colors prepared as well, so I'll just type in the values here. And also, if we now go to the hover state and make few adjustments, it's gonna change its color to this one. Let's see if it works. You can also change the action that your button will do after you click on it. To do so, go to the settings panel, element tab, then click action link, and from this menu you can select desired action. For example, you can link it to a custom URL or one of your subpages. In our case, we're gonna link it to our gallery. Cool. So after we've created our header and made changes to our button, we can start working on our menu. But before we'll do that, let's add another shape, another rectangle, and I'll show you that although you can move it anywhere, you can just drag and drop it anywhere to your website, you can also change its position and size manually. So you can resize it here in the settings panel, change it to 200, you can change its position to 0 and to 100 pixels from the top. But yeah, as I mentioned, you can just simply drag and drop it anywhere, so I think this is easier way to move and adjust your elements on your website. Now I'll change its color to white. I'll resize it to 100 pixels high, and I'll change its width to 100%. Now, this should create a nice white bar that will act as a background for our future menu. Now we can also add a basic logo, so go to the toolbox, image, icon bank, and here I'll type in home, select the icon. You can also choose the color. I'll select one of the colors we've used before, and I'll move it to the top. As you can see, the guidelines will help us a lot with positioning it properly. However, I'm going to use settings panel to set size values precisely. Okay, but what if I'd like to scroll down on my website? As you can see, and here, I can't scroll down. It's because our website is too short. We can easily fix it. To do so, just add another shape and move it down. Now drop our doorstop, and now we can scroll freely again. Now I will add a few more icons to demonstrate you another very useful auto adjustment feature in WebWave. So yeah, I added this globe icon first. Now something that's gonna represent, let's say, time. And this one. Now I'm gonna resize it. So now to show you what I mean by another very useful feature, I'll just move these icons around. And now I'll select all of them, and I'll show you the auto alignment tool. So here in the settings panel, you can see this align multiple elements bar. By pressing one of these icons, you can choose the way in which the elements are aligned to themselves and to the website. In our case, I'll just move them to the top. and then so they have same space horizontally. I'll just move them to the middle, and they are right where we want them to be. Now I'm going to add a few more text elements. So click here to add a paragraph. I'm going to resize it. Move it a bit. Then add a header. And add some lorem ipsum again. Now we're going to center it. Change the font to Trebuchet. Make the header bold. Also going to change the size. And spacing. So now we've got our text element prepared. We don't have to create another one from scratch. We can simply copy paste it. And we're gonna use the guidelines to space it properly. Here you can also see that the editor helps us by highlighting the space between the elements. Cool. I'm going to select all of them and move them down a bit. Now I'll show you how to create a header with parallax effect. To start, let's move this a little bit down. And let's add a picture from the image bank. So let's type in project. I'm gonna select this image. I'm going to set its width to 100% and resize it a bit. To apply the parallax effect, you have to go to the settings panel, to image settings, and then enable this option. Now we're gonna change the scrolling speed to 45%, and now we can see the parallax effect in action. You can also see it on the website preview. Cool. Now I'm going to add another element, which is going to be a rectangle with the same size as our image. I'll just change its I'll change its color to white, and then change its opacity to, let's say, this value. This will help the text to be more visible after we add it to the header. So let's select few elements by holding down the Ctrl key. Now we can copy and paste it here. Let's move it. I'll just remove this thing. And here we have it, our first header with parallax effect. Before I go further, I'll just quickly resize this header. You can also change the text inside. Cool. Now let's create another header to show you how the animations work. So I'll just copy it down here. I'll move this shape a little bit down again. Okay. So, to use animation, you just have to select the element you'd like to apply animation to. Then you have to go to Element, Show Hide Effects, and you can switch the animation here. You can either apply it on Show or on Hide. You're gonna select on Show, and then here from this menu you can change its type. I'm going to use this one. We can also add animation effects for our pictures. So now I'll add an image that I previously prepared, which is going to be this one. So basically that's one image, but it's spliced in half. And it's gonna load in a while. And I'm going to select, I'm gonna add the left one first and resize it slightly. Let's change its width to 600. So it takes exactly half of our working space. And now I'll add another one. I'll place it here. Also change its size to 600. Cool. And now I'm going to add an animation. So if I go to Show Hide Effects, animation on Show, fly in but from the left. I'm going to change the distance from 200 to 300 pixels and time 0.3. I'm going to do the same with the other half. From right, 300 and time 0.3. Cool. Here we have it. So now, as you can see, as we'll be scrolling down the page, the animation will show the picture in a little bit more interesting way. Before going further, I'll just quickly change the text here to animation header. And now I'm going to create our last section, which will include a map with our location. You can add it by going here and selecting Google Maps. This will add a map, which we can resize it as we want, and then add our location. So let's say London. Cool. I'm just gonna copy this header. And as an example, I'll just type in, let's meet up. Cool. So now the visitors will know where they can find you. There's also another useful feature. So you can look up the businesses in Google. So if we type in WebWave, it's gonna find our HQ in Warsaw. Now we've got our map ready. As you can see, it all works well. Now let's create a simple menu for our website. To do so, go to the toolbox, select website menu, and right from the start, you can change the order of your subpages in the menu. You can also add a button. And here you got two options, to a new page and linked to. If you select to a new page, you're gonna create a new button with a new page name. Or you can go to linked to and create a link to an existing subpage. I'm just gonna write test and I'll link it to gallery. Cool. Now the button is added and let's move our menu. And we can also change the order of the buttons in the menu by right-clicking on the menu and selecting this option. Now we can drag and drop it in desired order, or if we move it slightly to the right, we can change our button to a drop-down menu. To delete a button, just right-click again, go to the same menu, click Edit and Remove Button. And it's all done. Just as our button element, our menu will have different states on hover. It will also have one additional state, which is called active. So if we go to this menu, you can see the states: normal, hover and active. But first, I'm going to change the entire menu. So I have to go back to entire menu option and we're gonna modify our font. I'm going to turn capitalization on. I'm gonna bold it, then change the color to gray. 1-3 too much. Okay. I'm going to make it slightly larger as well. And cool. Now let's move our menu a bit. And as you could probably notice, the buttons get underlined. And that's because they've got the underline turned on hover and on active. But we're gonna change it in a second. So let's go to hover, let's deselect underline and change its color. But as you can see, it is still underlined, and that's because we didn't change active state yet. If we go to active, then we can deselect underline and again. Cool. Now I'll just take some time to resize the banner. Just gonna make it slightly larger. Okay, so if you finished making adjustments to your website, you can just click here to see its preview and to see if everything works as intended. I think now we can publish our website and see how it looks like and if anything changed. Just click here, and this will publish your website under this link. So if you click here, this will open your website. As we previously seen, everything is okay. But what if we go to one of its subpages, let's say gallery? Well, nothing will happen because we don't have anything yet on this website. So let's go back to our editor, and here you can go to gallery and see that we indeed don't have anything on it yet. But don't worry, we don't have to begin from scratch. We can use ready-made elements to speed our work up. So the first trick is to use something that's called shared elements. As you know, most of the websites have shared elements between different subpages. To create such group, you can just hold down Ctrl key and select each of the items you'd like to group individually, or you can just drag a box that will include all the elements and it will select them. Now go to the settings panel, display on many pages, and turn pages on. Now the group you've just created will be displayed on every subpage. But to edit the shared elements, I highly recommend using this option, because as you can see, if I move this button in home page, it will also change the position of the button on all the other ones. But let's undo this. And let's go to shared elements. Now I'm just gonna add another shape just to show you that if I add it here, it will be visible on every subpage. I'm just gonna remove it. And now, as we are talking about shared elements, we can also add a footer to our website. To do this, I'll just add another shape. I'll just move it down. And as I said before, as we added it here in shared elements, it's going to be visible in every subpage. Let's change its width to 100%. And now we have to let our website know that this element will be a footer. So click here. Let's switch between our subpages to see if it works. So yeah, as you can see, our footer has been added to every subpage of our website. But now I'm going to delete it, as we'll have something better now. So instead of creating your own footer from scratch, you can use one of the pre-made element groups. So if you go to the composition menu and scroll down, you're gonna have ready-made footers here. I'm going to select this one, and this will add it to our website. As for our earlier prototype, we're just gonna select this option to let the website know that we want to display this element group as a footer. Now I'm going to go back to our shared elements editor, and I will adjust it. I will adjust our footer slightly. I'm gonna change the text to lorem. Choose trebuchet. And change the font here as well. As you can see, you can type in your own phone number, email, and you can also change button colors. So if you click here, you can change color to the one you want. Whoops, it's here. You can also change the icon itself. So if you go here, we can change it to, let's say, YouTube. I'll just choose another color here. Cool. You can also adjust text formatting for the form. I'm gonna change it to our default one, which is the trebuchet, and I'll do the same for our button. I'll slightly resize it. And similar to the normal button, you can also change its color. I'm gonna choose this one for the normal state, but I'll change the color for the other state as well. I'm just gonna quickly remove the border of our form so it looks more embedded into our footer. And I think we're done. I think it looks quite nice actually. As you can see, our footer has been added to every subpage of our website. Cool. Now we're gonna go to our gallery and I'll show you how to add an image grid. First, let's create some space by selecting a footer and then dragging it down. You can also just add an image grid here and it should automatically push our footer down, just as it did right now. So move it up a little bit. Okay, we can change the images by clicking here. I'm going to remove all these images by holding Shift and clicking the first one and the last one. And I'll add my own pictures that I previously prepared. Now the images will load. Now you can close this window and it should automatically load our pictures into the image grid. As you can see, this is another useful feature and it will make your website look much better. So what if I'd like to publish our website for different RWD modes? You can do it by going here and toggling this on. This will publish our website for different RWD modes. And by clicking these icons, you can switch between them. So now we're gonna open the mobile version, and as you can see, something's not right here, but it's because our website has been set up so it's being displayed properly on PC. So now we're gonna need to make a few adjustments, and it's going to be displayed properly on other devices as well. But don't worry, we're not alone here. WebWave also has one very handy tool that I'll show you later. But now let's start making our adjustments. I highly recommend starting with shared elements, as this will make our lives much easier. And this is what's really causing our problem. So I'm just gonna close this menu. I'm going to make this font a little bit smaller. I'll change this one to 22, 18. I'll also resize this element to 768. Just move it to the middle. Change the element so it looks like here. And cool, now it's ready. Now let's do the same thing for the phone horizontally. And the phone vertically. We can see that the font I selected is a little bit too large, but I'm going to change it now and it's going to be all good. Okay, now let's check if it worked. Now we have our header ready. Let's adjust our menu, which is over there. So let's go to the tablet version. And if we just simply... Come on, menu. Don't do this to me. Okay, if we just drag and drop here it's all done. And we can see that it wasn't that difficult, but this is a little bit different for the mobile version. So as you can see, our menu won't fit here. So if we go to menu settings, we can change menu type to mobile. We can also change the menu position. And now we can move this button, and I'll just resize it a bit and place it properly. It's gonna be easier to access. Okay. We can also change our icon's color from the settings panel. And it's right here. Now to open our menu, you just have to double click on it. And from there you can access any of our subpages. Now let's go to the portrait mode. Let's move it a bit. And let's see if it works. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. So now we have manually adjusted our RWD modes for the shared elements. But what about if we go to one of our subpages? It looks good on PC, but if we go to tablet or phone, some of the elements are still a little bit off. To save us some time, we can select this option, set up the elements automatically. So if you click here and we deselect this one, then press start, this tool will automatically set up the elements for us, saving us so much time. After it's finished, you should get this pop-up window. You just click OK. Cool. Let's see how it looks like. So yeah, some of the elements might still need some adjustments. So let's say these ones, we can just move them individually. Nope. Okay, let's move our headers a little bit closer to the top. Let's now also check our gallery. So if we go to the gallery, we can see that our image grid doesn't look too good, but there's an easy fix for that. If we go to image grid settings and we change images in a row to 2, it should look much better. And as you can see, it does. Now let's check the other modes. It looks good. Time for portrait mode. And as you can see, the settings were changed to only 1 image per row. However, it's gonna look very well on mobile. Cool. I think it's time to save our website and finally publish it. So if you click here, then you should get a link to your website. And here you have it. Now let's see how our website looks like. As we can see, the animations work and all the sections are okay. Let's go to our gallery. We can see our image grid here as well as our form. Works. let's also check RWD modes for our website. And as I'm dragging these bars here, you can see that our website is RWD ready. Cool. We have reached the end of this video. I hope it wasn't too long. I hope you learned something valuable today. And if you did, please leave a comment, like, or subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.